What's going on, guys? Welcome to the DeFi Crypto Alliance show, where we're doing our best to be the bridge between our fellow real estate investors and entrepreneurs and the cryptocurrency world, where we feel like crypto is the biggest opportunity over the next few years. And man, it feels like the bull run is beginning. We're starting to get legs here, I feel like. So I'm excited this morning. How are you feeling, Corey?
Oh, I'm feeling ecstatic, man. I had a great weekend out here in Puerto Rico. Just had a good time with family, going to beaches and just, loving life, man, to be on this, journey with all of you guys where we're going to use crypto as that wealth creation tool and real estate as a wealth preservation tool. And I really feel like if you look at the Pulse Chain chart, and Pulse is always what I measure everything against. It's my main store of value. I know some people like Hex, some people like, they like Ethereum, but like mine's Pulse. And man, I feel like, and it's not financial advice. This is not, I'm just a dude on the internet, but I really feel like we bottomed. You can see it, how it went down, and now we're starting to print that W, which is typically what a very bullish indicator in TA. And you TA guys in the chat can chime in on this, but I really feel like the meme coin game that B Roots spun up, obviously the P dive and a Tropa system was like the catalyst of all of it. But that meme coin game that he's been doing and everyone's been doing kind of started the initial bull run for Pulse Chain. Like you had said, I think on a previous show, Dane, we are seeing a lot of .eth people over here playing the game, and then coming soon in the future, we're going to see the utility tokens, more of the blue chip type assets participating and coming in, and you're going to have bigger money that's going to want to come play with those tools, that feature set that Pulse Chain has to offer now, because it's more sophisticated for bigger money. And that's when you really, I think, feel like I really feel like that things can get really heated up. Which it's funny because it kind of lines up with the market cycle going into next year. With the Bitcoin halving and everything. I mean, the timing of it couldn't be more perfect as it is now. Obviously, I think Pulse Chain was launched too early, but now where we're at, the timing is starting to line up really good. Yeah, if I look at this chart, man, it looks like a bottom formation down there, and you got kind of the W. The W is kind of broken up there in the middle, but typically that's your and it's the higher low. The second part of the W is your higher low,
Yeah,
and
right
then
here, right? Leg down, a little
one,
bit of
yep, up,
recovery,
down,
leg down, a
and
little bit
there's
of
your higher
recovery.
low. And so that's typically generally pretty bullish overall. And I know like Hans and other guys are seeing bullish divergence on using the RSIs and stuff like that. And so assuming there's not, there's two factors I would give I would give an exception. Okay. I would say that's bottom unless one of these two things happen. Massive black swan event in the world, the economy, United States, whatever it is, and we're talking like something very critical, as like a war happening, and God forbid none of this happens. And I feel like that's behind us now with Jubilee being behind us, with the waters above prediction being kind of behind us, and maybe this can last into this week. Obviously, we got some stuff going on this week, like the CZ. There's the CZ case, I think, is with the SEC today or something like that. I saw something on Twitter. That could affect the markets, of course. But if outside, a massive catastrophic black swan event, or RH getting a DOJ serving or something like that, I really feel like this was our bottom for the Pulse Chain ecosystem. So I could be wrong. I'm just a dude on the internet who speculates because I like to speculate because I'm participating and buying these assets. So I need to make decisions for myself. And I was even telling Dane before the show, I went ahead and decided to give Coast a test spin. I'll let you guys know how that goes when it goes through. I just literally initiated a transaction before we hopped in the show because I want to do a DCA, or start my DCA back up seeing that we've kind of formed some kind of market structure. Like I said, it may not be the bottom. It's possible something knocks it down there, lower if some really bad news came out. But I feel like I feel good making some bets now.
Yeah, I'm feeling more comfy. And you're seeing, I mean, on the Bitcoin chart, I mean, you're seeing this candle. I stole
Jeez.
I mean, it's running. I stole the title of the show today. Here's one of the accounts on Twitter that I like. And he's just mentioning, I mean, he seems to be pretty solid over the last few months with his outlook on Bitcoin. And what it's looking like, according to this dude, if a bearzooka candle, I love the I love the play on words. He's saying if we break 28K on this rally, bearzooka candle gets auto upgraded to bearzooka candle. Failure to break 28K just means one more dick before bears get nuked. So
Interesting.
yeah, it is. And this is one of the guys, he's still very much in the camp that he thinks we could see Bitcoin all-time highs before the end of the year. And so that would, that's like a right translated cycle, I believe is what it's called. And so
all-time high before the end of the year.
That's what this dude's thinking. He's saying that it's, in his opinion, it's still within the realm of possibilities, and we're starting to see the chart move. So I'm curious. Oh, I'm not sharing my screen.
No,
So
you
I'm
weren't.
curious to, I'm curious to see.
That would be bananas if we saw something.
Oh man, bring on some euphoria. I'm ready for it. I'm tired of feeling worn out.
Oh man, you talk about FOMO and the crypto ecosystem and people who have, basically told me and Dane, no, I'm not interested in crypto for the last year. Those people will be banging on our doors, like, you guys still doing crypto? It's like, yeah, but bro, you missed like 80% of the move. But come on in, man. Yeah, come on in.
Stake for 15 years. It'll be all right.
Right. Stake all yourself for 15 years. Continue being our exit liquidity.
So it's looking pretty strong. I'm excited. It's nice to see. I'm with you. I think November will be an interesting year for Pulse Chain. So we'll keep an eye on that to see, what news may come out around Richard being served and updates to the case there. But I'm telling you, I really like the theory where if you're later in line, you want to push things off as far as you can until some of this other stuff is resolved. And then it would make more sense to have case law to point to say, hey, like there's nothing, you don't have anything against us. Let's move on. So we will see. What are your thoughts, Corey, on and you guys in the comments too? I'm curious. What are your thoughts on the DOJ case or potential impending DOJ case? There's been some people that have said, and we've talked about it on our show, I've just been considering this more recently again, that if they could get Richard in the States, then the DOJ would look at charging him because they could get him. They could get him. He'd be here, but otherwise,
that makes it easy. It's like a trap.
Yeah. How are they going to go find him in a non-extradition country with without him being here? I think it's interesting. It's interesting to consider.
It is, and maybe that's why he's completely avoiding being served, and he's going to play the game out for as long as he can. I don't know what he's going to do, but none of us can know. This is all speculation, highly speculative what he's going to decide to do. Richard has always surprised everybody in many different aspects, whether it's a negative surprise or a positive surprise. He's known the surprise.
Yes.
So we'll see, man. I don't know. There's a lot of people on Twitter. Of course, Twitter's Twitter. You got attorneys on there. Guys saying that there's no way in hell that he's going to DOJ is going to go against them because they just don't have a strong case. They need to convince a jury 12 out of 12 that he is the fraudster that everyone's saying he is, and that the United States government's not willing to spend money like that if they don't have a solid case. That's what the one attorney who keeps having live spaces on Twitter is kind of like what he is saying. Then there's other attorneys are saying That's why they're, why the SEC put in the docket or the lawsuit, whatever you want to call it, all the paperwork, the word fraud so many times is so they can use that, against Richard, and then push a DOJ case on him. I don't know, man. It's all interesting. It's all up in the air. All this stuff is so highly speculative. But I mean, with no DOJ case comes, man. I think these are the buying opportunities of a lifetime where we're at right now. So you're still betting and gambling a little bit that there's not going to be a DOJ case. So always, when you are investing in anything, you need to weigh out the risk and at least think about the risk. So when you sit down and you're thinking about pushing that wire button, just make sure you know what the risk is. That's still a risk. That's still on the table. It's not done. So, but for me, I'm comfortable because I know the upside potential is freaking exponentially just massive. I mean, talking about maybe hundreds of X's, if from here in these levels, if this thing gets resolved, it's going to be absolutely bananas. So I'm willing to make the bet on this risk. I feel like the upside tremendously outweighs the downside.
Agreed.
So for me, it's now never bet more than is uncomfortable for you and your family to put out there. Like, you're not going to put in your mortgage money. You're not going to take a loan out on your house like some of these guys, some of these grifters will tell you to do. You want to make sure you're doing it responsibly, betting with money that you can afford to lose. This is honest truth. But also, it's not that you're betting for what I like to tell people. It's not what you can afford to lose, because I never really go into thinking I'm going to lose. But it's betting money that you don't need now. That's the way I like to look at it. If you know you're not going to need that money for the short term or the midterm, even though if we get a Bitcoin higher high before Christmas, I mean, that's the short term. But I'm not going to bet. I'm not betting on that. But so you want to put this money in with the mindset like, I don't need this money tomorrow. I don't need it next month. I don't even need it in 6 months. Maybe I can get it back in 6 months. Maybe, but I'm putting it out there like I'm good for a year, even 2 years without seeing this money again. That way, I'm in the right mindset to let that money sit and do what it's supposed to do and grow in value. And that also, if I can let that money go for 2 years, I know it doesn't affect my family, feeding my family, and paying the mortgage, and maybe if you have a car note, whatever it is you got going on in your life. If I know I can let that money go for 2 years, man, then you're in a good place. You're in a really good place where that's how investments should be made. And not only in crypto, guys, this is like in all investing, stocks, real estate, real estate, it's great that you can sometimes make some cash flow back on your investments, but you still don't want to over leverage yourself where basically you're, broke. And so you can do that with real estate very easily. And so as long as you can put the money in, not worry about it for a while, then you should be in good shape. You're muted, Dane.
Thank you. I think it's interesting to experience yourself. You kind of like figure out what that balance is for you, and it comes from experience. So yeah, a lot of words are wisdom there.
We've all done it. We've all put in a little bit more than we should, especially at that time and place. And you're like, oh man, my bank account's a little bit lower than I like it to be. If something were to go bad in my life, I need to make sure I can still cover my cost of living and my family's cost of living, whatever it's needed for months to come. We don't know the future. That's the reality of it. I don't care who's got a crystal ball. I know Nagabo has a crystal ball now, and he's trying to predict future coins. We'll see if that works out for him. More power to him if it does work out. But I'm in the camp that none of us know the future.
Yes, agreed. I'm with you there. Well, and I think, I mean, I keep thinking back to the scene And it just hurts my heart. The scene in the Hex documentary, and RG3's talking to his buddy that he convinced to put their house money into Hex at the top, and the price keeps going down and down. And you see the scene where he's like, just give it 6 months, man. Just give it 6 months. And I'm like thinking back then when he was telling him 6 more months, I'm like, 6 more months of utter pain. It's gonna get a lot worse.
It's more like from the price that he bought it at. We're talking about years. From the
Yes.
time
Give it 2 years, bro.
from that time that
Yeah.
he bought it. And will it return to that glorious price one day? Probably. I think it will. But the time frame was definitely,
I think we're starting to get back in the range where you can say like, hey, give it 6 more months and you feel
we're kind of there now, right?
You feel better about where you might be in 6 more months. Yes. Agreed. I'm excited. On another cool note, Fame launched this weekend, which is cool.
Yeah, that is cool. And pricing's been holding pretty stable. I think I looked this morning, it was at 57 cents a token, if I wasn't mistaken.
Yep, right about 56, 57 right now. This is the hourly.
You could have. Now, this was not fully law meme coin type activity, but if one could have sold the coin when it hit around 80 cents and then bought your position back at 40 cents, that's a complete degen trader move. And of course, I didn't do it, but I saw a couple of people bragging on Twitter that they did that. And I mean, cool, good for them. But that didn't follow the law of meme coins for me or anything like that. So it's not like you could try to predict. I mean, maybe you could predict there was some FOMO right out of the gate. There would have been, of course. There's always FOMO when something first launches. But how would you have predicted later that day everyone would have sold off? It was literally later that day, or it felt later that day. People were selling it off. I was like, wow, this is crazy.
I've got a theory around this.
Yeah, I would love to hear it.
Yeah. So here's my theory, and I've been thinking about this all freaking weekend. So when you go back and you look at and this isn't, we'll put the ideas together as we go. So if you go back and you look at the different protocols that had sacrifices, the two that stand out in my mind where the sacrifices weren't widely advertised and they didn't raise just obscene amounts of money were Fiat and Tetra. And I believe that even the Tetra guys, certainly the Fiat guys, have been in profit this whole time. The early sacrificers have stayed in profit. And I think that that's largely because, you think about it, I think a really good analogy is, most clubs, if, it's important that you have a line. It's important that you're not just letting everybody in, you're building the FOMO. You have buyers.
Very good point.
That can still come in. But if you had a sacrifice, I mean, think about it. There were a lot of different protocols that had their sacrifices open for months and months and months. And were advertising.
Power City was one of those.
Yeah. Hey, come and get on our sacrifice and raise, $10+ million. If you did that, well, first is, and I'm not saying right nor wrong, but I'm saying is you essentially had the club and you kept the doors wide open and you're just trying to get anybody passing by you possibly could to just come in. And then you eventually close the doors. The question is, are there more people that want to come into the party when you launch? Is there more people that want to come into the party than leave at that point? And especially, a lot of people, their value was preserved in some of these sacrifices. And so if you'd sacrifice a volatile asset that's now gone down since SEC news and things like that, well, you're sitting pretty nice on a lot of this stuff. And people want to take profits and take them fast from what I could tell. And so I think there's a lot to be said about that. And I think that dynamic could largely change as we head closer into the bull run. And there's just more crypto FOMO abounds. But man, I'm really interested to see some of these other projects that had huge raises I hope to God that they launch, that they don't freaking launch till next year, early next year, closer into the thick of the bull run. Because otherwise, I think that this was a child's play selling off on fame. I think that others could get slaughtered and slaughtered fast.
Agreed. I'll tell you, that's one of the biggest things I learned during this bear market, participating in ICOs or sacrifices, whatever you want to call it, just in the initial when you're trying to get in a raise, is I need to look at how much is being raised, how long is the sack open for, is there a cap? You know, we need to look at all these different dynamics to really figure out if you want to participate or just which 80% of the time, I would say maybe even 90, might be 90, 95% of the time, it's just better to just wait
Yes.
for it to launch and then come in and buy.
Which which is such a shocking revelation. Like the sacks were, to me, anyways, the sacks were so rampant. And I mean, and this was, a couple of years ago. So you and I didn't know, we know a fraction of what we do today. So we've put ourselves in a really good position. I feel like I'm really happy with where we stand and what we know today. But man, at the time I was like, oh, all these are going to go theoretically really well. But man, I just didn't think through the supply and demand factors of those things. I mean, seriously, think about this. Imagine if Richard would have only raised, 20 million, 30 million, 40, 50, saving 50, 80 million dollars on Pulse, had no sacrifice for Pulse X. And there, in fact, you don't even need a token. I would argue with Pulse X. Imagine the amount of money, because there was like $140 million that came across the bridge, I think, early on.
Yes.
If that was all going into Pulse, we would have had the parabolic run that everyone was
We
hopeful
would have
for.
mooned.
Yeah.
Another thing he could have done to eliminate some of this downward pressures, and I know people are gonna they're gonna hate me for saying this. He should have not accepted Hex. He should have not accepted Hex because he gave everyone who sacrificed Hex used the sacrifice for exit liquidity. So when the sacrifice came out, they were still up 50x, 100x, 1000x on their Hex, and they were able now to fast forward in the future and still exit out of their position wildly in profit. So he gave them the capability of using the sacrifice for exit liquidity into the future. And so it's something I've thought about a lot.
That's interesting.
He should have not accepted Hex into that sacrifice. Everyone's like, oh, but I removed it off the market. That does not matter. That is only a narrative. Only thing that matters is the liquidity pools. And we know he keeps the liquidity pools ultra, ultra thin. And so like when he gave everyone the economic energy to exit out 2 years into the future in the middle of a bloody bear market for the same price that it was in the bull market, he gave them a time machine. And he gave them to exit. That's why we saw our own bear market. We saw our own bear market fast forward in real time because he allowed them to sacrifice Hex. I know everyone in the comments is going to think that's the dumbest thing I could, but it's true.
Well, and I think that it's interesting to consider whether you did Hex or not. I mean, I guess it was a matter of like experience the pain now or experience the pain later. Because if you would have only accepted like stables or ETH, people would have been selling off their Hex for those assets. It would have cratered the price chart at the time. It's interesting. The one and one other thing I'd add, I'm with you. The taking the supply off the market didn't matter at all as far as the price chart is concerned in the bear. I think it'll matter in the bull.
Yeah, for sure. And
Yeah.
Hex is going to do freaking amazing. I love Hex, guys. So don't come at me and hate me. I have bags of Hex. I love it. It's probably my second favorite asset. Pulse is my first. That's my baby. That's just
right.
Let you know. I love Pulse Chain, but yeah, that's just my opinion of that, and it will do well. You're right, Dane. In the bull, the supply being diminished is always affected in a bull. Same with like Pulse X. The whole narrative of the buy and burn right now doesn't affect it right now.
It doesn't matter
there. It will matter in a bull. All that supply removed and all the demand coming in, and like it will matter then. And it's one of the things I've also learned in this in this bear market is that the demand doesn't mean shit, or the supply doesn't mean shit. Demand means everything. You have supply and demand, but like if you have no demand, I don't care how much supply you're taking off the market, that coin's gonna freaking tank. And I'll give you a good example. Pulse Bitcoin. They had a halving where they went in half, and so they had a lot less supply coming out, but there was no demand anymore because Dumpster kept dumping his coins onto the market, so it did not matter. So like you have to look at both sides of the equation, and the problem in a bear market is you don't have a lot of demand in the bear market. You can limit supply all you want, but you don't have a lot of buyers here right now. People are like, they think crypto's dead. It's like talking to the normies out on the street right now are not like, they're not going to come in and buy my Pulse bag. Now, people are starting to wake up a little bit, and I love that. In fact, like I said in the beginning of the show, I'm starting DCAing again. But, you know, these are lessons that we need to learn and write down and take note of, because there's going to be other market cycles. There's going to be other projects. There's going to be other things we're going to want to participate in, and we need to learn from our mistakes and grow from this. And this is why some people are so good, whether it's the stock market, crypto, real estate, is because they understand when they make mistakes, they have to learn from it and grow from it. And that way they don't make the same mistake again. And that way they can also teach. If they have, you know, people that they're onboarding, they can teach it to them and they can share the knowledge. I've learned a lot from like Sami and stuff like that, who has, you know, a lot of market experience. And yeah, it's just take note of these things, and yeah, don't make the mistake again.
Yeah,
still salty about that.
Yeah.
They're actually, man, I give them credit. They have chats open in the Pulse Bitcoin room. They're trying to revive the protocol, and I really feel like in the bull run, if they keep the community and really keep the engagement, like I'm seeing them all over Twitter again now, they might have an opportunity if Gunther is all out of the coins, though. I don't know I don't know if he dumped everything, his whole position. And some of you guys in here might know more than me. Like I know if what's his name out of Europe, he's in here. So Fat Sammy. If Fat Sammy's here, he would know. But if he's out of his coins, then Pulse Bitcoin has a chance.
Right.
I don't know if he is out of his coins or not, and that's the scary part, because they're in the second halving, and then they go into the third halving here in a few months, and maybe that's right when the bull run hits, and so the inflation ain't that bad, and if you don't have a wet, because guys, the only thing that matters in these ecosystems are the whales. Like the whales control the pricing. That's why Pulse dumped so bad, because there was like 2 or 3 whales who were in there going just hammering the price, right? And so the whales make and break protocols. And so depending on where he's standing, I would never feel comfortable. In fact, I mean, for me, I'm sticking to mainly blue chips anyways these days. But like, I would never recommend anybody putting another dollar into that protocol until they know where he stands on his coin count. He needs to be completely out of the protocol, because that guy is detrimental to every protocol he touches, except for Hex. Except for Hex, but he's got his Hex staked. He's all staked out, but I guarantee he's selling Hex when the stakes are coming out. It's just a guarantee that he's doing it. But like, you look at the Zen Bitcoin, you look at the
X-Men.
He did something called Jam. I don't know what Jam was. Was there a jelly too? I have no idea. But like, they're all just decimated, because it's just you know, that's the opposite of a benevolent actor. What is the opposite of benevolent, Stain?
Oh man, what is it? I don't know. It's a good question.
The OA is very benevolent, in my opinion, and he's shown that to be true. This is the opposite of the OA.
Yeah, the opposite. That's a great point. One of the things that has me real bullish on Fame, which is cool. So we can look at Fame right now. The market cap right here is almost 15 million bucks.
Yeah.
You look at GMX.
Yeah, it's funny you're looking at this. I think it was on Saturday I was looking at this.
Yeah, it's cool. $315 million market cap at the bottom or near the bottom of the bear.
What
That's
was the
a
market?
21x from here.
Can you see where the market cap was and when it peaked?
Uh,
It'd be a little hard to figure.
I
There's a
don't.
way to do it. I'm curious now. Yeah, because here at the bottom of the bear. So what is that? Are they about a that's about a 20x from
Yeah,
where we're sitting right now. So
21x from where we're at right now. If it matches this in the bottom of the bear, which I think is a
bottom of the
pretty
bear.
conservative
It's
take on things.
once again, I'm speculating, guys. It's just me. I'm not giving them financial advice. Don't buy the coin. I don't care. Go sell the coin. For me, I think Fame has the possibility of doing 100x from these metrics alone.
Yeah, I do too. I'm excited. It's going to be a fun opportunity. Yeah, Paul says bullish on the PH ecosystem. We're so fortunate that Fame and it copied protocol are both Cycle One coins. Yep, agreed.
That's true.
Agreed.
Super exciting.
Really excited about that. Yeah, K Crypto nailed this. Fiat SAC was deliberately not advertised too much. Keep it low market cap.
Maybe
and that's why it's preserved value. You know,
I saw it all over. I saw it on Twitter, but maybe it's because of who I was following. I found out about Fiat from Twitter, and I even remember B-Roots, because I was following B-Roots back then. B-Roots was going to sacrifice 100K for Fiat, but he didn't do it because Buck wrote on the website, built for Hexicans by Hexicans, and B-Root hated that, and he would come in, he was talking crap about it on Twitter. He hated that idea, and so he decided not to sack for it.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, that was. We'll even ask B-Roots about it when he comes on. I'm still in communications with him. He's going to be back on our show again, guys, here soon. But, yeah, I remember all that going down back then. Like, it wasn't, like, completely a secret. It's just I think they didn't get out there and push it hard like the 9-inch team did. Like, 9-inch went out there was like they got every influencer to talk about it. They had this amazing
referral program.
Referral. Yep. They didn't have none of that stuff. They didn't have none of that.
Well, and I think wasn't it capped? I think it was capped.
It's possible. I don't remember.
Or maybe not capped, but the window is pretty small.
Yeah, that's very possible. I remember sitting in the Telegram, and when it went live, I sacked immediately after so I did it like the first few minutes. And what sold me was like it was the Aave fork for Pulse Chain. I'm like, holy crap! Like that sold me so into it. I was like, if Aave did so well with Ethereum, if Pulse Chain does even a fraction of what Ethereum does, then this tool will be utilized. This tool will be appreciated by bigger money coming over. Like I was like, man, if Aave can do a 500,000x, I'm not sure what it did. It did amazing. I know that. Then I know Fiat can do a something similar. A fun fact about Aave? Aave is, I think, one of the few coins that did a 99% down before it went on its parabolic run.
Oh, did it?
Yeah, 99. There's not a lot of coins that did a 99% and then corrected. Cardano's one of them. I think Aave's one of them. There's only a handful that went on to go do like amazing things in the future. Aave was one of them. I don't know if you're going to see it, Dane, because Aave wasn't always called Aave.
That's right. I remember looking at this. You're right.
It was called ETHLend.
That's
before it was Aave. Way before my time in crypto. I know that. I know Randy Hilarski participated in the ETHLend. He was there. I think he was part of the team or something in the early days. Okay. Randy's been in like all kinds of stuff. He's so been cool.
In some pretty cool places. Yeah.
Yeah.
But an 81% down this bear market. Yeah, interesting.
This bear market, yeah, that's a respectable retracement. And I with the whole 99% down with Hex, it's all BS. Here's why. I've given this a lot of thought. If you combine our hexes together, we're only 98% down. Okay, I know it's still a lot, but you need to take that in consideration. For me, I take in consideration the whole ecosystem, because basically when we forked and launched, we weren't bringing any new money in. All it was is like money coming from all the hexicans and going to PulseX. So like if you add in the whole ecosystem, we're not 98% down or 99% down. We're probably something like 80, 75% down, which is not par from the course from every other protocol in a bear market. It's the same. So like, I don't buy into the 99, 98. I know people like to show the charts on Twitter. Oh, your coin's down 99, but no, it isn't, asshole. It's not. Not you're for one, you're looking at the wrong chart. For two, you need to combine all the charts, and it's just we're not even close. So that's the way I look at it and view it. Because anytime you have a stock split, that's what happens. And we had a stock split go basically 5 ways. It wasn't just EHEX and PHEX, guys.
That's a good point.
It was EHEX, PHEX, Pulse Chain, PulseX, and even Ink. You had a lot of Ink degens, especially in the beginning of the launch. I remember that. Pump that damn coin up over $80. It was wild.
Mm-hmm. That was wild.
It was a wild ride, man. I wish I'd have bought that before. I remember it was sitting at like $6 or $7. And I remember I almost bought it and I didn't buy it. And it freaking goes on a parabolic run because of all the degens. I'm like, damn, the train left me.
I bought it. I bought a bunch of it and I sold it pretty near the top. I just wish I would have put it all in freaking stables. Oh man, that would have been a good decision. But
nope,
that would have been my friend. Everything that was destroyed by the SEC. Oh man, come on.
Oh man, but I'm happy with my bags regardless, and I'm gonna keep DCAing as new money's coming in, and we're gonna
now credit to the PH team. I'm looking right now. I'm only down about 5%. So I sacrificed. It was like at minute 8 of the first round of the Fame sack. So I missed like the early. They had like magic minutes, which I'm annoyed about that. I shouldn't have missed it, but I was on a call and I was a little bit lazy. I missed the magic minute, so I didn't get like some insane multiplier. But I got a little bit of one. I got into one that pretty much everybody could have gotten into if you were during the first round of the Fame sack. And I'm only down about 5% right now, even with about roughly was that a 40% correction from what it got up to. So not too bad. The PH stuff has easily been some of the best ones to hold their value so far on Pulse Chain. It's pretty remarkable.
They're blue chip grade A assets, in my opinion. There are going to be some of the winners in this bull run. Holy crap. Once again, not financial advice, but I like to tell my onboards, I'm like, if you can get a dolphin position, at least a dolphin, like it could benefit you in the long run. We like to judge everything in sea creatures. That way, like how much of the supply you own. So if that thing really takes off, how much it can affect you. But the dolphins, pretty legit. Think about trying to become a hex dolphin these days. It's freaking incredibly hard. Even coming up Pulse Chain dolphin, it's going to take somebody who has like 80 to 100 grand. It's not cheap. Where in something like Fiat or Fame, you could become a dolphin for a very small fraction of those pricings. So it's something that can take consideration. Not financial advice by any means, but yeah.
In fact, that's actually a really, I'll do the math. What is that? 55. What is it? It's 555,000 tokens.
The dolphin is 5,555. Yep, there we go.
Yeah, what is that? 5,555 times by, we're at, I don't know, roughly 60 cents, we'll call it. And it's $3,300 right now. So
3,300 for a Fame dolphin, or 90,000 for a Pulse Chain dolphin. I get Pulse Chain is like the layer 1 blue chip of Pulse Chain, but still, you're looking at your upside potential here. When something really goes parabolic, a dolphin and Fame is not looking too bad.
No, not at all.
It's just, same with Fiat too. I think Fiat's got the exact same supply. Fiat's a tad bit cheaper than Fame. I think Fiat's hovering around the 30-cent range, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
So maybe you cut that in half almost.
You can get a dolphin position in Fame as compared to in Hex right now, or as compared to Pulse Chain for 3%, 97% cheaper to get a dolphin position in Fame right now as compared to Pulse. It's interesting.
That's something to weigh out when you're building your portfolio, and especially when you know the asset well. Like we've done a lot of research. We know the team. We know Dylan. We know Buck. like, and you know what they're forking and they're doing, like you know, like that's a man. What do they call it? Asymmetrical bet right there.
Yes. Yes. In fact, yeah, Corey, you want to speculate Fame versus Fiat?
For sure, man. I think Fame will be the darling of all the assets, just because it's what a lot of big money will love to use. Fame, it adds a lot of simplicity to the complex of leverage trading. Where Fiat, you have to be a tad bit more sophisticated. It's not to just go push a button and short. It isn't that easy. I think they'll both do really well, but if I had to put money on one of them, I would probably say Fame will probably be the darling of all. I think all three will do well in the bull, but yeah, if I had to go out for just one, it would probably be Fame. Look for dips, look for red candles. Looks like we're kind of trending sideways right now. Maybe you get a shark or somebody who might want to sell off, try to catch it on that red candle. And that's the way to do it, because it seems like it's not going to follow the law of meme coins the way it looks right now. It looks like it's like a stable coin right now.
Yeah, and Fame, it's interesting. So if you look at so Fame versus Fiat, Fame right now is just a hair under $15 million market cap. Fiat almost to 12 million. So they're pretty similar in that respect. They're relatively close. And I'm with you. Anyone could go use a slider to go short or long. It's easier to understand. Yeah, I'm with you. I think that my money's more. I mean, Corey and I both hold pretty significant positions in both, and so we're excited to see. But if I had to guess, I think Fame runs a little bit harder.
Now, here's what I like doing, because I never know the future and I never know what's going to be the best asset. And if I love both, like if I really do truly love both, and like say I had $5K to allocate, right? And it's just me, guys, not telling you buy anything, right? You can go sell everything for all I care. But if you take that $5K, just break it up. And you can break it up. You could maybe do a $3K in the Fame, $2K in the Fiat. That way you're hedging both sides. So you got both ends. There will probably be times where Fame will be running and Fiat won't. And there'll probably be times when Fiat will be running and Fame won't. And so it gives you the opportunity to take profits, whatever one's running at that given time. And so that's what I like, a little bit of diversification of my crypto. I don't like going crazy, because I don't want to have to manage 100 coins, but
right.
Under 20 or even between 10 and 20, that's like a magic number for me. It's easy to manage. I can keep it in a nice notebook where I could track every single day. Here's my crypto notebook that I'm able to track every day and monitor, and I know exactly what's going on with my portfolio at any given time. I don't have much surprises unless it's a stupid SEC thing. And yeah.
Yep, absolutely. Tom is of the same mindset that I am on sacrifices. Yeah, I mean, I'm really interested. I hope just from a learning perspective, I hope some of this stuff launches a little bit later, near the end of the year or beginning, that had relatively good sized sacrifices, to see how those will perform with a little bit more bullish sentiment. Otherwise, yeah, I'm with Tom.
One of those protocols, though, they have a lot of money. One of those has just a shit ton, and I don't see how people are not going to be taking profits in that thing.
Yeah, I think
there's just so much economic. That's almost like, dude, that protocol has more than when Ethereum launched on its ICO.
Right.
In that protocol, it's.
And there was a ton of hex sacrifice for those early ones.
Same problem.
Yep, same problem.
Watch it, rinse and repeat.
There would be an opportunity to go buy. I mean, I feel pretty confident saying it'd probably be a good opportunity to go buy 80-90% dips on some of that stuff.
Why not? That's the stuff you love. If you sacked for it, here's the thing. If you sacked for it, that means you love the team and the protocol. You bought in to the vision. There's nothing changed. That's like Pulse Chain, right? Just because I'm underwater of what I sacked or what I could have done when I first bought, doesn't mean that I'm not in line with the vision still. And I don't see the possibilities of that protocol. And so that's why I continue to DCA. It's the same with anything that you have faith in and you know that's going to do well. Not know, but you project it's going to do well. There's no reason why you can't DCA and get that cost basis down. Drive that basis down so that way when it takes off, you experience even more gains. You guys wanted the 100X. Well, guess what? Pulse train dropped enough now where you might just get it.
Seriously.
Some of this other stuff the same. We might need to see a big 90% sell off before it does what it's supposed to do. I don't know. We'll see.
Agreed. Yeah. Yeah. Tom nailed it. Yeah. The power of FOMO is real. And man, I with some of these really heavy projects. I mean, the thing that's interesting, I think the one that you and I both referencing, I think outside of Richard Hart, they were the largest.
They are
the largest amount raised. And what was interesting, another factor is how many people punted theirs out. That's actually because a lot
right here,
did.
Pleb.
PLEB.
Yes. Just put it right up here. That's what I did there.
But also, I think that's an interesting thing because if they launch here, I mean, it sounds like they're going to launch next month, which will be interesting to see. How many people bought into the punting it out until you got your tokens? Because there will be less to sell on market theoretically
in the beginning.
If a lot of people did that in the beginning, and also, I mean, if a lot of those start coming out when there's more FOMO and the market's looking stronger again, that'd be good because that'll be good. Less people are interested in selling when they think their thing is going to go up more in value. So maybe it won't dip as hard as I'm thinking. I'm interested to see. Yep, we will see.
Yeah, I'd still take back my sack
right
now.
Yes.
And just and take my chances and buy the dip.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely.
But, live and learn.
You live and you learn. That's right. So cool, guys. I mean, is there anything else you want to cover today, Corey? I think we covered all that.
That's it, man. You guys have a good week this week. Enjoy the more positive momentum. We do have some things going on this week. You have CZ, the SEC this week. There's a couple other. Do we have FMOC or the CPI? Something like that this week. I think we have CPI. Or no, that was out. No, we already had CPI.
We had that already, yeah.
Yeah. Maybe that's the only thing that's happening this week. I'm not sure. But I mean, Jubilee year's over, guys. This is like extremely positive. The water's above predictions. I feel like if we get through September, then that we'll be in the clear there. It doesn't mean that something can't still happen. But remember, if something does happen, like a black swan, like, for example, another stupid pandemic, right? If that were to happen, to me, it's just an excuse for twofold. One, to obviously get more control. I don't want to get too much into the tinfoil hat over its population. But two, to turn the money printer back on, save the economy, and do what they're really good at doing right before the presidential election. So
can you imagine if we do Plandemic 2.0 and they turn the money back on and try to keep everybody at home? I mean, those of us positioning now, that will be Corey and I were joking about this. Would you give up some freedoms for a parabolic bull run here?
Right. Would you stay locked up in your house for 3 to 6 months for a few $1 million in your bank account? As long as I have my family, I think I'm okay. Like, we can still Zoom, right? We can still do our show. We can still
this time. I'm here for it.
So.
Oh man. Yeah. All right, cool guys. Well, thanks for tuning in. Smash the likes, subscribe, all that stuff on your way out. We appreciate you here. We're here to pump everybody's bag. With that, we'll see you later this week.